Welcome to the video. My name is Ben Martin. I am a photographer, videographer, and an American Ninja Warrior. Before we get started, be sure to subscribe and hit that bell notification icon. And without further ado, these are the 5 hacks of 2020 that you guys can take to your cameras and your setups to improve your video and photography game. First up, we're going to be talking about how you guys can create more depth in your shot without having to spend more money on a lens. Now, some of us have an unlimited budget and can just shell out an arm and a leg on a new lens that has a super fast aperture. Most of us do not fall under that category. Now, regardless of whether or not you can afford those lenses, this advice will take your footage to the next level. First, we're going to be looking at the camera itself. We're going to be putting it in manual mode, making sure that you're not letting your camera do its own thing. So now that you have control over your camera settings, now you're going to crank the aperture all the way down as low as your lens can go. This is going to open up the shutter, allow a lot of light in, and create more depth to whatever shot you have. Alright, so now that your camera is raring to go, we are going to take a look at this scene, creating depth in your frame and how you have your subject. So in order to maximize depth, you need to have a background, a foreground, and you're going to place your subject somewhere in between. Oftentimes, the cinematic look is really identified by having that washed out background. Basically, how you can try and accomplish this is simply take a step forward, differentiate the subject from the background. So now that we've taken a step forward, it doesn't mean you have to get closer to the camera, it just means you have to get further away from your background. Next, we're going to focus on the foreground. So creating depth using the background has already been accomplished. Everything's pretty washed out. But now with the foreground, making sure there's something kind of in front of your lens, to the side, whatever, really establishes that this is a depth sandwich. So you've got something blurred out in the foreground, your subject beautifully in focus, and then your background is also blurred out, washed. And this is a tip that a lot of photographers and videographers do to really step up their game. So like I said, where the hack comes in is by adding something in the foreground to kind of layer your shot a little bit better. Now, you don't want to use this for every single shot or every single picture you take, because that will be a little excessive, but if you guys use it tastefully, it can really step up your game. Next up, we're going to be talking about lens noise. So this tip really applies to those who shoot on DSLRs or on mirrorless cameras but use adapters for older lenses. So basically, when your camera's in autofocus, your camera has to do the work for you. It's going to move the focus ring for you on its own. And a lot of times with DSLRs and these older lenses, even if you use them on a mirrorless, that creates a lot of noise. Like every time I move, every time it has to refocus, it's making that adjustment with the focus ring, but it's doing it at the cost of sounding like an engine. So in order to solve this problem, just get rid of your DSLR, switch to mirrorless, and sell off your old lenses. That's easy as that. Next tip, no, just kidding. So in order to make sure that this doesn't ruin your footage, ruin your audio, one, you want to get an external microphone. So if you're using the in-house camera microphone, it's going to pick up the sound guaranteed. The audio is right here, the lens is right here, it's moving, it's making noise, and the microphone's gonna pick it up. It's kind of a no-brainer that that's gonna happen. You wanna take initiative, you wanna get an external microphone. Getting the Rode Video Micro is a perfect place to start. These microphones can just be mounted on top of your camera, which is gonna move the audio source a little bit higher, so those noises aren't going to be as noticeable. If you guys start to realize that it's still a problem, which I have definitely realized that, going a step further and buying a boom stand for your mic. So what a boom stand is going to accomplish is it's going to move your audio input away from the camera. So by having my microphone up here, it's not going to be picking up noise that comes from over there, especially having a directional mic that cuts out noise from the sides and the rear. So although picking up the boom stand and getting an extension cord to plug into your mic and then to run it back into your camera, it's gonna be a little bit of an extra cost. It's really worth the $30 total because it does make a noticeable difference. All right, so this next tip applies to B-roll and in filming more cinematic sequences. When we think of photography and videography, we think of holding the camera in terms of landscape or portrait. Now, some gimbals these days have the ability to roll along the x-axis, creating this vortex-like effect. Now, I'm gonna break it to you guys. You do not need a $500 gimbal in order to achieve this look. Simply grab your camera, slap it into a high frame rate, and you're ready to go. Now, what this high frame rate's gonna do, the reason why I tell you guys to do that is because you're gonna put it into a slow motion or a speed ramp, whichever you guys choose, and that's gonna eliminate some of the shake and make it look more like a gimbal. So all you have to do is hold your camera, you're gonna start at one angle. It's kind of like a steering wheel, you know what I'm saying? You're parallel parking, you know? So you're gonna hold your camera, you're gonna start it here, record, and then you're gonna slowly back out and rotate it. That's it. I did this in my previous video for some of the B-roll, and it looks really cool in my opinion. In 2019 and 2020, online shopping is as enticing as ever. Convenience, savings, and delivery are all reasons why a photographer or filmmaker would resort to buying gear online. However, a better way, in my opinion, to go about this is to go to your local camera store. Whether it's B&H, National Camera, etc., physically take your ass to the camera store and ask some questions. Like seriously, there are people there who get paid to answer your questions about cameras, which is super cool and super helpful. Oftentimes, stores have price matching, great deals on used gear, and better alternatives to what you thought you wanted, but didn't even know about. So, supporting your local camera store, saving money, getting questions answered, it all sounds good to me. All right, lastly, for the fifth tip, the fifth hack with your camera or setup, we're gonna be talking about the importance of audio and the importance of lighting, making sure that you're maximizing both things. It has been said over and over again that audio and lighting is what makes or breaks your film, your video, anything. So me as a YouTuber and a filmmaker, I'm trying to step up my game as far as audio, taking advantage of natural lighting, artificial lighting with LED lights, and utilizing audio tools to make sure that everything is as good as it can be for my budget, for my purposes. And in maximizing what you guys can accomplish with your audio and your lighting, it's not going to be that much money. So for the LED lights, for video light, you can get a video light like this just for 20 bucks on Amazon. Now, is it the best light that you could get? No, absolutely not, but for $20, it's phenomenal and it can't be beat. And a pretty similar thing goes for microphones. You can pick up a decent shotgun mic, the Rode VO Micro, for only $59. So at the end of the day, for under $100, you're having the opportunity to take your lighting and your audio to a next level. That is like, I don't know, if you're serious about this or if you enjoy this, you would be a fool not to do so. So basically, if you get the Rode VO Micro or a shotgun mic that is mountable on your camera, and if you get an LED light that also has that cold shoe mount, you're gonna end up needing to mount two things, but you've only got one cold shoe mount on your camera. So to combat this problem, what I recommend is that you guys get a splitter. Actually, I don't think it's called a splitter. You guys getting like a cold shoe extension mount. So basically you mount it here on the camera, and then it shoots up. You got one mount here, one mount here. You can put your light here and your microphone up here. And if you guys have a DSLR, this is perfect because it takes your microphone and it moves it higher up, further away from that loud autofocusing noise. So as you guys can see, a lot of these tips coincide with one another and they really fit hand in hand with each other. This concludes the 5 camera hacks video. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this content. If you liked my video or want to check out my channel, subscribe, share, comment, like, all of those good things. Even if you want to just do one of them, that's okay. And we will see you on the next video or the previous video if you want to watch it right here.